technology that is built for your every sense. Acer Pure from Acer.
Mountain on India, China has been also of the view that the United States has turned into a bully. Now, meanwhile, the SCO Summit will see coming together some of the world's most prominent and foremost leaders of the global south, with many calling it as a show of global south solidarity. Now, what does it mean for the rest of the world, and why will Donald Trump and multiple nations of the European Union will be watching very, very closely? So when we take a look at these countries coming together, what does it amount to when we speak of global trade? It amounts to nearly 17.5% in the year 2020 when it comes to these countries coming together with their trade ties. What it amounts to when we speak of global world economy, the GDP there that is shared between these countries come together in a total of 23.16%. And of course, population-wise, India tops amongst all of these countries are concerned. We are looking at 35% of the world population that now amounts to, as far as the representation that would be done by these world leaders there, where we are expecting, of course, the host country being China, then, of course, Russian President Putin will also be there, and, of course, Prime Minister Narendra Modi soon will be departing from Japan to China. But when we speak of the Prime Minister, he is likely to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the SCO Summit. Now, this meeting also comes a month after External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met with the Chinese president with this first high-level meeting that happened since the 2020 clashes. Why is it now being attributed a lot of significance to this meeting as far as laying the groundwork before the Prime Minister's visit to China, because this is going to be his first visit to China after the 2020 Galwan clashes, which had strained ties between the two neighboring nations to a while that after decades long, we are looking at a brutal clash that happened at the border areas. Now, the Prime Minister's attendance also signifies when it comes to India's strategic autonomy, and also another significance that is being attached that displays India's resistance when it comes to Western pressure as far as United States and the role that it has been playing, and the solidarity that is now showing when it comes to these Asian countries that are now coming together. This could be a big build-up as far as when it comes to looking at the Western countries in the eye, and when it comes to self-reliance and making in India make for the world message that has resonated when it comes to the Prime Minister who was speaking in Japan yesterday. But Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who has stressed for the need of India and China to work together amid global economic volatility, in an interview to a Japanese daily, he has said that ties with China are stable and they are amicable and they are ready to advance. As far as this has been the Prime Minister saying that stable, predictable and amicable bilateral relations between India and China as two neighbors and the two largest nations on earth can have a positive impact on regional and global peace and prosperity. And now this is coming at a time right after, while there would be certain experts who are still wary of the presence of China and its dominance and when it comes to its expansionist ideas, however, India has been standing its ground. But when we speak of the two neighbors and exactly being an adversary to the United States, Donald Trump often has been accused of going soft on China. However, like a friend with India is now concerned, we have seen exactly when it comes to the ties that have now been strained to certain extent. But when we speak of the Prime Minister, he has been now saying that there would be a positive note when it comes to two of the biggest countries in Asia would be coming together, where there is now expected to be stable, predictable and amicable bilateral relations between India and China. We have getting you a comprehensive coverage here when we speak of the fastest update of the SCO Summit right here on Times Now as we report from Tianjin in China.
So while you're getting all the updates about the SCO Summit and how significant it is for India and China and the changing global order, let me also tell you about how the Chinese media is viewing the SCO Summit, the participation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and most importantly, how US at the moment, along with the Western powers, seem to be losing dominance. That's exactly what one of the articles written by Sudhindra Kulkarni, which has been published here in China, Daily talks about. Look at the header of this article. It says, SCO reflects the vision of peace and security. Now, it's also about the view that this article reflects, which has been published in China Daily. According to Sudhir Kulkarni, he says that this particular summit, the SCO Summit 2025, could prove to be one of the most successful ones, not just because the global order is changing, but because West is realizing that it is losing dominance. Also because he says that Western leaders continue to desperately cling onto the illusion of a unipolar world. Further in the article, Sudhindra Kulkarni talks about how US has used India against China to counter China, and is now ensuring that it adds burden, it adds pressure on India through the tariffs so that India cuts off its ties with Russia. But that clearly isn't happening. Now, this article focuses on how India and China have taken multiple measures to ensure that the relationship between both India and China are strengthened. And remember, we saw that when the Foreign Minister of China, Mr. Wang Yi, visited the national capital, New Delhi, where he met with the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, NSA Ajit Doval, and ultimately he also had a meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Steps like people-to-people connect, steps about lifting off restrictions and curbs on trade reflect how efforts are being put in by both India and China. Perhaps Donald Trump's tariff tyranny has played the role of a catalyst in bringing together these two powers. And not just India, China, by the way. India, Russia and China, the world's largest countries, are going to be present in the SCO summit. And the bonhomie between these leaders perhaps is unsettling Donald Trump, who's cast a long shadow over the gathering of the leaders in the Eurasian summit.
But when we speak of the United States and the dominance that it feels that it should enjoy, but it's now casting a worried look as far as India, Russia, China coming together, this summit would be taking on Trump administration's offensive against India, also coincides with the improvement of India's ties with the Chinese side. Now, over the last few months, we have witnessed a strategic realignment or a reset of ties with China and Beijing that has expressed their support for India against Trump's tariff tyranny. Remember, China had called out and called Donald Trump and the United States as a bully for pressurizing India. Now, it was in June 2024 when it comes to the visa rules relaxed for Chinese technicians that has been done. October 2024, the Prime Minister and President Xi Jinping, the talks that happened during the BRICS summit. Thereafter, there has been another improvement when it comes to this year. Rajnath Singh, the Raksha Mantri, visited China for the SCO meeting. And in August, building up for the Prime Minister's visit by the end of the month was when it comes to the Chinese Foreign Minister visited India. Wang Yi was here. He also invited the Prime Minister for the SCO summit. Thereafter, China then lifting curbs on export of rare earth magnets. This is something that Donald Trump has been eagerly eyeing on, which he says that he holds certain incredible cards, but rather is choosing not to use them against China. Else, according to him, China would be destroyed. China being one of the biggest Asian countries, along with India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Vladimir Putin, the President of Russia, all of these are going to assemble under one roof. We will be getting you the continuous and comprehensive coverage only on Times Now.